new teacher took command on his very first day. He ordered all students to drop and give him push-ups immediately. One student merely talked back a few times. He was singled out and punished with a painful lip pull. The entire class was stunned into silence by the scene, but just as Jack was about to start a 3-second countdown, the school bully suddenly stood up. Not only did he refuse to obey the order himself, but he openly told the other students not to do it either. Hearing this, Jack stepped forward and slammed the bully's head onto the desk. No matter how much the bully struggled, it was no use. Facing Jack's absolute strength, the bully didn't dare act recklessly. Seeing the bully start doing push-ups voluntarily, the rest of the students didn't dare defy orders anymore. This high school had a notorious reputation. At regular intervals, they would select a public enemy. The entire school was then free to bully that student relentlessly. Since many students came from powerful family backgrounds, they never respected teachers. Carl couldn't stand it anymore. He knocked the bully, David, to the ground right then and there. But this only brought even more brutal retaliation from the bullies. Originally, John was supposed to be the public enemy of this semester, but Carl's actions made him the new target for bullying. Carl tried reporting the situation to the school administration. All he got in return was indifference and empty promises. To make matters worse, David's father was a congressman. To get revenge on Carl, the man used his power to destroy Carl's father's business. From that moment on, the torture Carl suffered became even more savage. He once cried and begged David for mercy, only to suffer even greater humiliation. John had considered reporting everything too, but he knew that even if he spoke up, the school would just turn a blind eye. There was even a teacher who tried to seek justice for the students. In the end, he died right there on school grounds. Unable to endure this life any longer, Carl went to the rooftop and took his own life. Because the backgrounds of the students involved were so deep, the police chose to deliberately suppress the case. Ultimately, the whole incident was left unresolved. After Carl's death, John became the public enemy once again. After class, he would still face various beatings and torment. In the eyes of the abusers, it was nothing but entertainment. Just when John thought these days would go on forever, a sudden slap knocked one of the abusers to the floor. Seeing the other guy try to fight back, Jack didn't give him a chance. He beat the abuser until he was completely unconscious. The scene fell silent instantly. Every student was intimidated by the new teacher. Just then, David walked up to him. Upon learning Jack was the new homeroom teacher, he immediately ordered all students to take out their phones and record evidence of the teacher assaulting a student. But Jack showed not a hint of panic. Instead, he raised his hand again and slapped him hard.
그럼 또 사양 안 하지.
Hearing the commotion, the principal rushed to the scene. Jack immediately flashed his credentials. He claimed to be from the Educational Rights Protection Bureau. Since the school had already seen student casualties, and the school administration was suspected of colluding with the police, higher authorities decided to send him in for special guidance. Now aware of Jack's identity, the principal didn't dare say much more. He quickly warned Jack that Carl's class included the son of a congressman, and that congressman was a top candidate for the next presidential election. The principal thought this would scare Jack off. Little did he know, Jack's target was precisely David and his congressman father. Meanwhile, David hadn't learned his lesson. During lunchtime, he tried to cut in line as usual. However, the person serving food today was Jack. Jack ordered him to go to the back of the line. Hearing this, David deliberately grabbed a huge handful of food and threw it on his tray. Then, in front of everyone, he dumped it straight into the trash can. The next second, Jack kicked him to the ground. He then picked up a nearby mop. He deliberately wiped it back and forth over David's face as he tried to get up. He even put the dirty mop head over his head in front of the whole class. Yet, facing this endless humiliation, David never resisted. Still, David didn't restrain himself after these setbacks. It was his turn to clean the bathroom, but he simply packed his bag and went home. However, when he pushed open his front door, he found that Jack had arrived home before him. Jack didn't care about the congressman's status at all. Right in front of the boy's father, he bluntly pointed out David's violation of school rules. With that, he grabbed David by the ear. He punished David by making him clean the toilets. But the more David thought about it, the angrier he got. To bring Jack down, he viciously smashed his own head into the toilet.